dear United States government or Trump or whoever, I just want to bring to y'all's attention, me and my wife, we make we're in the middle class, right? Lower to middle class. And we have 2 kids that are under 2 years old. We both work full time, which is the problem, actually. I'll get to that. But we were have been getting quoted around $3,000 per month to watch our kids in daycare. And our mortgage is almost half of that. And so basically we're left with about, I don't know, $1,500 to pay the rest of our bills and feed our family. And guess what? We don't qualify for any benefits or anything like that because we make too much. It's the worst predicament I've ever seen in my life. Like, what are we supposed to do? Honestly, I'm not trying to come off rude or anything, but I just don't understand how it's like this. We need some help, dude. Anyways, can someone fix this or something?
Hi, so I'm seeing a lot of videos about middle class are struggling because being middle class was considered to be, stable, financially stable, and have like a very good amount of savings, having a decent home, all those things that come with it. But to find out that middle class are struggling, they're considered to earn too much, for any assistance and so many things. People who are considered middle class are being washed away because of the economy. And even when you're earning a lot, or what is considered to be a lot, it's not making any sense because you are still financially struggling. The cost of living is very high. A lot of it goes into taxes. We're going to be checking out this video, but before we get right into this video, please make sure you click the like button. It helps the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Let's get right into this video.
People that earn 6 figures are not bringing home 6 figures, and I think y'all have a difficult time understanding that because people on this app say, oh, you can live off 100K. We're not saying you can't live off 100K. I want y'all to really realize how high the cost of living is. Seriously, because see, while my gross may be over 100K, I pay almost $500 a pay period in just insurance. Just insurance. Then we have state taxes. Then we have local taxes. Then we have all this other shit that come out your check. I'm not even contributing to retirement because I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I bring home $2,500. $2,250 is rent. So one entire check goes to rent. One check. The other check goes to everything else. Because see, the thing is, y'all can't fathom that people make that much money and still say we living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm sorry if you make less and you're also struggling, but I really want people to realize the upper middle class is also struggling. We went to school, we went to college, we got the jobs, and we still fucking out here struggling. Just because we make more money, don't try to diminish our struggle. Thank you.
I hate being middle class. And I'm going to tell you why I hate being middle class. Because why the fuck am I owing taxes? But the top 1% barely pays any goddamn mother taxes. Oh my God, I swear to God, it's like the middle class hurts the most. No matter if you're lower middle class, middle class, or high middle class, it's like you hurt the freaking most. Because think about it, even with college, a lot of us in the middle class, our parents can't afford to send us to college for all 4 years. They can make great money, but they don't make good enough money to afford us to go to college all 4 years. So we're going to take out motherfucking loans. But the poor, oh, they're sad. They get money from the government. The rich, oh, they can afford it. The middle class, you're fucked, basically. Oh, the working class. I'm so irritated because I'm so irritated that I have to pay taxes. I don't know what to do. God.
The greatest trick of capitalism is that if you ask a cashier who's making $25,000 a year, and you ask a teacher who's making $60,000 a year, and you ask a surgeon who's making $600,000 a year, they'll all tell you that they are middle class. How does that make any sense? The truth is, there is no middle class. If you have to sell your labor for a wage in order to survive, and you can't simply survive off of passive capital accumulation, then you are in a class called the working class. There's only 2 classes, the ruling class and the working class. And right now, the top 10% of US earners account for almost 50% of all of the consumer spending. And as this wealth disparity increases, it will become obvious that there was never a middle class. And the whole purpose of the middle class was to divide the working class, to make the person who makes $100,000 a year feel superior to the person who's making $60,000 a year. Do not.
I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but I feel like being middle class is the worst because you can't afford life, basically. Like, you can only afford to survive, and then you make too much to get any assistance from the state. I don't like it.
I realize how privileged this is gonna sound, but I've never had to worry about gas like this. Like, I never had to worry about if filling up the gas tank was gonna, like, break the bank for me. Gas where I live is consistently over $4. Recently, I've seen it being over $4.50. And it's not even about the gas, but let's talk about grocery prices, because why am I in a store and I look over to the Doritos and it's $6? $6 for a regular bag of Doritos. And I know what some people are going to say, oh, well, just eat fresh, eat vegetables, whatever. Vegetables are expensive. They're expensive. Everything's expensive. It doesn't matter anymore. Honestly, going to Taco Bell is cheaper than going out and grocery shopping. And don't even get me started on the price of beef and chicken and whatever. It's bad. It's all bad.
I also feel like financial aid has beef with middle class students because you have the upper class who can pay for stuff in full. You have the lower class who qualifies for need-based scholarships and grants. And then you have the middle class where they're too rich to be able to qualify for anything need-based, but then too poor to be able to pay in full. So they're left with two options. You either qualify for a merit-based scholarship or you drown in debt because 9 times out of 10, their parents aren't paying for their tuition.
Let's talk about those of us who were actually raised. You felt like you were kind of rich. You had a McMansion. 3, 4, 5 bedrooms. You went on vacations to other countries. Your parents had nice cars. My dad drove BMWs. My mom had big cars. Denali, Land Cruiser, best car ever. Stand by that. You kind of won it for nothing. You got the new iPod every Christmas. Very privileged, right? But now you're like, oh, I went to college. I actually went to grad school. And I'm living in my mom's house. And I'm drowning in rent and see no future for a down payment on anything. Especially if you're single. I have a boyfriend, but again, I lived that single life for a long time where I was like, there's no hope. Maybe you're even like me, and the only hope of being able to afford a rent is a partner. That's kind of sad, right? I'm going to hold your hand, truly, and make you feel a little bit better about your situation. Because guess what? That house my parents bought on Long Island, come to find out, Grampy paid for most of the down payment. Now, they weren't mooching. They were taking in my great-grandmother, but still. My uncle, by marriage, who, very successful, my aunt, super successful, his OBGYN father paid for much of his down payment. The grandparents, they're probably all dead. That generation did a lot of help for our parents. Now, my parents obviously helped me. I get to live rent-free, even though we kind of live like roommates. But they helped that generation a lot. That generation didn't have student loan debt like we all do. They didn't need advanced degrees unless their job specifically required it. And what else did they do? Live far beyond their means. Again, I thought we had it good. I didn't realize we were constantly in credit card debt. That those cars were long loans. No, I did not know that. I did not know that we were in debt. Our parents lived beyond their means. A lot of them do not have significant retirement. My dad didn't have a 401k until my parents divorced 10 years ago. And he was nice and didn't take my mom's, which he could have. No, do not compare yourselves to their parents. I am aware of the statistic that specifically men are doing worse than their fathers in our generation. I totally understand that. But just know, I'm going to sound like just a boomer hater, but the boomers, they started 50 yards ahead of us in the 100-yard dash. They did not have this. Now, was it all great? Probably no. And the one thing that did humble them was 2008. But you are not a failure because you are not buying a house when you're at the same age that your dad bought his house. You are not a failure for wanting to push back having kids until you know you can afford them. That is a responsible thing to do. Best thing you can do right now, truly, is get out of debt and stay out of debt. That's all.
Poor people have community, rich people have resources, and the middle class suffers the most. One of my favorite unique facts about my life is that I have lived through 3 completely different socioeconomic classes in one lifetime. I was born in the hood. When I was 11, we moved to the suburbs, very middle class. And around my mid to late 20s, I amassed some wealth that allowed me to live an upper class lifestyle, technically a 1% for my age. And when I was a teenager, I used to haphazardly say, whenever I decide to have kids, I will make sure I move back to the hood so that my kids can have the same childhood that I had. Because I think I had one of the most blissful, happy-go-lucky childhoods ever. Now that I'm older, I would never do that because I don't want my kids to have the same proximity to gangs and violence and drugs, etc. But I do want them to have that same level of community. I felt so safe because there was always a sense of belonging and an unspoken rule that everybody looks out for one another. We all help each other out. Because the truth is, those in poverty rely on interdependence to meet basic life needs. Childcare, babysitter swaps. With food, it was very common to have potluck style or buffet style dining at events. Or for a close family friend to come over early and help with cooking, the cleaning, setting up the home, decor before guests arrived. Housing, very common to have multi-generational, multi-family roommate situations. And it was just very common to have any form of bartering or borrowing from one another. Conversely, the wealthy tends to outsource and pay for those community roles. Nannies for childcare, catering and chefs for gatherings. And not only do families live independently, it's very common for families to have multiple homes in multiple countries for multiple different seasons. Lake houses, summer houses, winter chateaus, etc. They even outsource emotional labor. No calling to vent to your homegirl because you've got therapy once a week and you vent to a paid professional. The only time the wealthy really collaborate or lean on one another is to advance their economic status some more. Becoming business partners, investing in large projects together, or hey, have your son come and do his internship at my company. The end goal of the collaboration is not survival, it's advancement. Now, the reason why the middle class suffers is because there is no shared code of conduct. Some people lean heavier on their community while other people lean heavier on their resources. And then there are some people who sway back and forth along the spectrum. Some people want a village but don't know how to be a villager. Some people show up for everyone's village but don't know how to ask for village support themselves. This can lead to resentment and a breakdown of communication, causing the middle class to feel the loneliest and the most confused. You've got one friend that says, hey, can you drive me to the airport? While the other friend says, couldn't she have just gotten an Uber? You've got one friend who says, hey, can I stay over at your house this weekend? They're doing renovations at mine. While the other friend says, why can't you just find somewhere else to rent, like a hotel or an Airbnb? One friend who says, hey, can you make those meatballs for my sister's birthday? And another friend says, I am not a caterer. I'm not making meatballs for 50 people. What one person sees as neighborly help, another person sees as a nuisance. Neither is inherently wrong, they're just not compatible. The middle class ranges too vastly for a common income to create coherence. In order to survive the vast middle class, you must choose connections that have a shared vision and understanding of what it means to show up for one another.
The economy is so bad right now, you'll be sitting there thinking you're bad with money when all you did was buy groceries. I live in North Carolina and it literally feels like the middle class is going to be the new homeless. It is rough out here right now. I just got back from California. Tell me why California is cheaper than North Carolina. Make that make sense. Utility prices are absolutely insane right now. Is anybody else in North Carolina struggling with this? I live in Charlotte and I feel like Charlotte is getting hit so hard right now. Comment if you're struggling or what you're struggling with or what your Duke energy bill was this month. I'm curious.
I honestly think middle class families are struggling more than anyone right now. We make too much for help, but not enough to actually feel comfortable anymore. Groceries are ridiculous, utilities are up. Vacation feels stressful instead of exciting. And so many people are quietly pretending they're fine. It's honestly one of the biggest reasons I started looking for ways to create income outside of my paycheck. Not because I wanted to become rich overnight, I just wanted breathing room. Anyone else feeling this lately?
Middle class has to be the saddest group of people, especially within the Muslim community, because you're not poor enough in order to have community in which you have to depend on other people, nor are you rich enough to outsource all of your responsibilities. Getting a nanny when you got multiple kids, having somebody clean your house, and not worry about the bills. And us middle class, of course, it's not paycheck to paycheck. People are going through that, right? And on top of that, even if you are going paycheck to paycheck, nowadays you got the middle class saying, hey, why can't you afford your life, right? Just get another job, do all of this stuff. So the middle to poor, they're suffering as well. It's the poor and the rich that are actually okay because they're not stuck in between two worlds. So when I say suffering, I'm talking about psychological, mental, spiritual, We're suffering because we're stuck between two worlds. And the only solution that I've found is taking care of yourself. And that's what I keep on finding. I am a mom of 3 kids, okay? I do everything by myself. Yes, my husband's paying the bills, but I am doing everything by myself. And the only solution to that is going to be community. So I got 2 ideas for you guys, okay? We need a country club. And I am sick and tired of the Muslim community. Okay? We can't do nothing. We don't have a community. Let's stop lying about that part. Let's stop lying about that part. Okay? Ideologically, we're not on the same brainwave at all. Okay? We don't believe in the same things. So what I would do if I had money, inshallah khair, one day, even though looking at my bank account does not look like it's going to be there, but qadrallah, barakah can be in $1. We need a Muslim country club. And this is, we're not talking about third spaces. The masajids, they're not doing anything for us, you guys. They're not, okay? I tried hosting an event or something at the masjid, and they're like, no, thank you. We don't do that. Community event, they're like, we don't do that. There's too many barriers because of certain ideologies. The other one is going to be third space, in which they have events left, right, and center. No. Can we gather to have fun? Men, female, whatever, who have ideologically the same thing, so that the sunnah of getting married, that used to happen at events, but now we got segregated. That used to be how the community would get together. Muslim country club, you guys, okay? Let's get the rich first, and then we can have a community center like the YMCA, you know, for the regular people. But you need community in order to thrive. And nowadays, the ideological differences, the globalization has made it so that we're not even on the same page. But can we just gather and have fun? Play archery, okay? Let the youth that can't get married teach the others. That's what I'll do for my kids. Inshallah khair. You know what I'm saying? That's what's missing. Fun. Fun for fun. And we have adults. If you can't take care of yourself, I don't want to deal anything with you. Anyways, okay? I was just looking at my bank account, and that's what I was thinking about. First generation immigrants, I don't have a chance. But my kids, maybe they will.
You've made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. Please don't forget to click the like button. It helps the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time, and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. And leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to see what you think about this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.